that's a spread that I've just done for somebody who's receiving too much unwanted attention from the wrong people, obviously. Make of it what you will. If you understand cards, great. If you don't, do some homework. I just want to do a part 2 about voyeurism. When does voyeurism turn into harassment? And when does harassment turn into, slash stalking? And who else is involved? Is it just you, or is it a group of your buddies do it? Do you get off on it? Do you put cameras in people's homes? Do you then sell that footage to voyeur websites so you make a quick buck on it? And then do the people you're selling it to say, well, can you encourage them to do a bit more? Can you get them to do this? Can you get them to... We'll edit you out so you can manipulate people into doing stuff, or you can make stuff go wrong in their lives so they act in a certain way, so they're upset, or they're happy, or they do this, or they do that. It's sick, isn't it? Pulling the strings on somebody's life. You can almost script somebody's life, can't you? To a certain degree, unless they wise up and they think, well, something weird's going on here. No, it's my show. I know what the triggers are. I can spot the cycles. Something weird's going on here, and the people around me have got too much money. So where's their money coming from that they're not being honest about? You don't need a computer to add that. Then your mental health gets smeared, I'm thinking. So the moment you start talking about it, people go, oh, cameras in your home, you must be paranoid, let's put you in a mental institution. They've got it all covered. It's like putting somebody in a jar, isn't it? But let this be a warning about voyeurism or hacking. Because once you get started on that, you might think you may be able to cover your tracks. But like energy, everything leaves a footprint. Be very careful. Because you might think you're masking stuff, but if you do something, it leaves a footprint. If you do something energetically, it leaves a footprint. You're not safe. Forensic techniques are moving on all the time. And you better be a damn good liar. Most people get consumed by their lies. Lies are like warts. They grow on you. They grow with you. And at some point, you find it difficult to put your head on your pillow at the end of the day, because you've got to remember the lies that you're told. Because if you don't, people will know that you're a liar. You tell on yourself, because you're inconsistent. Much easier to put your head on your pillow and think, oh, what good did I do today? I know I haven't got any lies today, I've got to remember. And let your going to sleep process think, well, oh, was I a bit rough on somebody? Not what lies do I have to remember tomorrow? Sort of keep a lie diary. Because don't forget, you can't forget who you've told what to. And who are they going to tell? Then if that sort of third or fourth person down the line is receiving different information from different people, and they're hearing 3 different stories about what you've told because you've lied to, various other people, then that person is collecting all that information. So it's not just the person or just the people that you tell. People love to talk. And as it swirls around, just wait for the tsunami to come back on you. Because you might be able to control what you say and your audience, but every audience has an audience. Now, you might think it's a power trip to get into somebody else's devices, to get into somebody else's home and put a camera in there. Oh, what fun. We're in control. Our thumb on their life. But when does it get out of control? When does doing your homework on somebody turn into breaking the law and become the Truman Show? Do you think that person is going to put up with it when they know damn well what's going on? How much money do you make? How much money do you make on the dark web? How much is it? How much is, what's the dollar value per tier? How much do they pay out for sex? Because I'm sure the true value is somebody who is innocently really doesn't know that they're being watched. Because that's where the thrill is, surely, isn't it? Oh God, they're so stupid, they're so unaware of it. Well, not if you've got half a brain cell. You figure it out quite quickly. David. Aaron. Family. It's pretty sick, isn't it? So, with you being the eye in the sky on somebody else's life, if you're actually interacting with that person, you better be very careful what you say. Because if you mention something that person knows that they would never talk to you about, or if within a conversation you slip up and you let on that you know more than that person would ever consider telling you on a topic, you blow your cover. Dangerous, dangerous game. But how many hands does the information go through? So, doing your homework on somebody is self-protection. You know, you can use agencies on that, or you can do people checks or stuff like that, but they are guided by morals and by laws about when enough, that's enough information for you to make a decision. What isn't all right to get into people's phones and their computers and into their homes, into their bathroom, into their bedroom. And then profit from it. Because you will never, ever be able to have an honest relationship or friendship or anything with that person ever again. How could you look them in the eye? But there are techniques for learning that, aren't there? It's the easiest thing to do to just abandon them and distance yourself from them because you actually couldn't possibly cope with looking at them. Just can't face you. Is that why a lot of people are getting abandoned and isolated now? How much of this is going on the dark web? Is it even the dark web? So if you ever want to have a relationship with somebody, be very careful how much homework you do on them first, because it warps any future with that person into some kind of kinky mess and a relationship in which you can never be honest. Because if you know of how much in the darkness you operated before you actually presented yourself to this person, you can never be honest with them. As I say, it's like putting somebody in a cage or in a one of those, I forgot the name, like a glass dome. They're like a piece of cheese under a cheese board under a glass dome, aren't they? But then, what happens if you fall in love with this person? Huh? Guilt. Now that's when that's the tipping point of feeling power over this person, benefiting financially off this person, and humiliating this person. All of a sudden you start having feelings for them, and you think, God, that's the person I love, but I can't approach them because I know too much. I've screwed over the thing that I've now fallen in love with. What do I do? Now that must be the biggest nightmare in the planet, isn't it? How do you reconcile that one? Well, maybe some honesty and an apology. But could you imagine the torture of that? The one thing that you used to kick around turns out to be the person who keeps you, the thought of them keeps you awake at night. Well, that's the torture, isn't it? That's karma. And who's the one person that could forgive you for that? Oof. But you can't even approach them for forgiveness because you can't be honest. Because it's too much. So what do you do? Any financial benefits of that, you go off and hide with that. So you're living off the back with the money you earn, selling out the person that you love, that you can't be with. So how long is it going to take before it catches up with you? And that kind of money, I mean, not all money is good money, is it? It's going to be cursed. Cursed by a higher power. That kind of money is not going to buy you happiness. It might buy you a bit of stuff. But there's got to be some kind of... Well, you know, don't you? Say not all money is good money. And to take that one step further, there's not much comfort in money that isn't good money. These tend to be those sort of dynasties that all of a sudden there are unexpected deaths and calamities and catastrophes that befall them. On the surface, it looked like you made your money, you know, hands above the table. But that's just presentation, isn't it? It may be legally, it won't be moral, though. But what a flip of a coin that is. To have the person, the subject of your venom, turn out to be the person that you fall in love with. Because what a guilt, you've denied yourself the thing that you really want, your shining star. And even if you wanted to, be honest with, I mean, it opens you up for blackmail and all kinds of stuff like that, all kinds of extortion, doesn't it? So if you are going to do this to people, you better make damn sure you're not going to fall in love with them. But who can tell? You might not fall in love with their looks, but you might fall in love with their being. No, it's like Pandora's box, isn't it? Knowing too much. Must be torture. But it's self-inflicted torture, isn't it? So when you do your homework on somebody, decide where it starts and where it ends. And there's a good legal and moral framework for that. Just do some homework on it, because overstepping that mark, it will only boomerang back at you and damage you. Because either you will get into a relationship with that person, but that person's likely to find out, but it will eat you up every time you put your head on the pillow with that person, and every time you wake up to them, and every time they're so nice, because it's the person you fell in love with, probably not the looks. So every time they're kind to you, it's going to take a chunk out of your heart. Yes, technologically, you can get into people's phones. You can get into their computers. You can get into their homes, as I said. But do you really want to? This voyeurism thing is out of control. It's a plague. And you know what kind of animals carry plagues, don't you? Rats. So it makes you a rat. A plague-carrying rat. I hope you can live with yourself. Yourselves.